This episode is sponsored by Calm and by Feels.
Just when you start thinking tech news has gotten stale and it's just the same boring BS every damn week, the science community blesses us with the news that plants are apparently sending emails now.
Yeah.
Sorry, vegans. Never heard of a cow sending an email. Looks like the real killer of sentient life was you all along.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just what could these plants even possibly be writing in these emails?
Yeah.
More water, please. Fruit's ready.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. How do they type? Who are they emailing? Why does this sound like clickbait nonsense?
Well, it sounds like clickbait nonsense because it kind of is, though it's still pretty impressive news. No, plants are not going on Gmail and typing out messages with their roots and their leaves like Little Shop of Horrors.
Seymour!
Feed me, Seymour, please! But what scientists at MIT have done is engineer spinach plants to have carbon nanotubes in their leaves that emit a fluorescent signal that can be picked up by infrared cameras, which then automatically send an email to researchers, letting them know that there might be landmines nearby.
Oh.
They allow plants to become sentient, and the first thing they do is send them to war. Just like the animals.
Yeah.
They have no choice.
No choice at all. So yeah, I mean, scientists have taught spinach to send emails is definitely more eye-catching than the title of the primary source for this. Nitroaromatic detection and infrared communication from wild-type plants using plant nanobiotics. Yawn.
Hot spinach in your area.
And again, the spinach is not sending the emails, though it's funny to picture it doing that.
Popeye, please, stop eating my family.
But the spinach does now have a way of conveying information to humans that it didn't have before. Lead researcher Michael Strano told Euronews, plants are very good analytical chemists. They have an extensive root network in the soil, are constantly sampling groundwater, and have a way to self-power the transport of that water up into the leaves. This is a novel demonstration of how we have overcome the plant-human communication barrier. The final frontier.
Plants do love that album. Plantasia or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They love it.
It is a great album.
It's a great album for humans and plants.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Listen to it with your plant.
Yeah. Create a bond and then get really sad when your plant dies because I've given up. I've tried it many times.
Oh, I was supposed to water you?
And then I overwater.
Yeah.
I'm all thumbs and not green thumbs. It sounds like while this demonstration with the spinach was specifically about detecting explosives, the same technology could be used to detect pollution and predict droughts. From Euronews, in the early phases of plant nanobionic research, Strano used nanoparticles to make plants into sensors for pollutants. By altering how the plants photosynthesized, he was able to have them detect nitric oxide, a pollutant caused by combustion. Quote, plants are very environmentally responsive, Strano says. Fucking duh. They're plants. Oh, am I in a polluted area? Oh, are the plants dead? That's a pretty good signifier. His quotes continue. They know that there is going to be a drought long before we do. They can detect small changes in the properties of soil and water potential. If we tap into those chemical signaling pathways, there is a wealth of information to access.
Yeah.
Unless you get one of those climate-denying plants.
Yeah.
No, there's no drought coming. That's just liberal nonsense.
I see some clouds and some snow. So much for global warming. Mm-hmm. Send.
You can definitely eat me. I'm not poisonous.
Yeah. And all the plants, they start spreading misinformation on PlantBook, which is Facebook for plants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They it starts off innocent enough. They start these plant Facebook groups that are against like using Roundup and other insecticides.
Or they're just posting harmless plant memes.
Yeah, but then things get way out of control.
Extremists come in and they just ruin everything.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's cool. Spinaches are sending emails.
Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way, it's very good for you. It tastes great. It's another thing that was ruined by my parents when I was young. Because I don't think I ate fresh spinach when I was young. It probably came out of a can or a frozen block. And I very much enjoy spinach nowadays.
I mean, even the frozen spinach, you just put that in some oil, let it reduce. You can eat a whole plant in like 2 spoonfuls.
Yeah.
And it's good.
That Popeye, he was on something.
A little garlic, a little salt and pepper.
Mm-hmm.
You got yourself a spinach meal.
It's very good. Just cook for yourself and you'll see.
Yeah. Anyways, in other news, Jeff Bezos, founder and CEO of Amazon, richest person on earth, and murderer of Barnes & Noble, Sears, and Toys R Us,
At least.
is stepping down from his role at Amazon. Some other dude named Andy Jassy, who has been running Amazon's cloud computing division, will be Amazon's new CEO.
You can't even be mean to the guy on our show because his name is so fun sounding.
Andy Jassy.
He sounds like he works at a circus.
It's Saturday Night Live
With Andy Jassy.
Andy Jassy.
See, like, Jeff Bezos was a man you could hate.
Yeah.
I gotta see a picture of this Andy Jassy. Does he look like an asshole?
Just looks like a normal, frumpy old dude.
You absolutely hate to see it.
Yeah. Anyway, other than that, though, it doesn't seem like a whole lot is going to change. Bezos will still be Amazon's executive chairman. And in an email to staff, he said,
I am Spinach.
in the exec chair role, I intend to focus my energies and attention on new products and early initiatives. So he's sticking around.
Bezos also wrote, as exec chair, I will stay engaged in important Amazon initiatives, but also have the time and energy I need to focus on the Day One Fund, the Bezos Earth Fund, Blue Origin, the Washington Post, and my other passions. I've never had more energy, and this isn't about retiring. I'm super passionate about the impact I think these organizations can have. So basically, it sounds like he's going to do a similar career transition that Bill Gates type thing. He did that like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now everybody loves Bill Gates. But guess what? In the 90s, he was an asshole.
A real piece of shit.
Although, can Jeff Bezos jump over a chair?
I heard that you can jump over a chair. Is that true?
Do you want to see? So we don't know if Jeff Bezos can jump over a chair, but he is the chairman still at Amazon.
He could probably lift like a dozen chairs.
So yeah, he's doing the Bill Gates thing. He's focusing more on charity and giving away some of his absolutely absurd fortune in, I would assume, hopes that, public outlook will turn around on him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it does sound great at first, but you simply do not get anywhere near as rich as Jeff Bezos was, or is still, without first exploiting the labor of millions of people and having a generally net negative effect on the world.
Yeah. So, and Bezos' Day One Fund, it sounds great on paper. It gives money to nonprofits that provide shelter and resources to homeless people.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah.
But also, Bezos and Amazon were responsible for killing a bill in Amazon's hometown of Seattle that would have taxed local businesses to fund affordable housing projects to prevent homelessness. Mm-hmm. So, some mixed messages here. Very libertarian of them. Like, no, don't. The government shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing this.
Yes. Don't tax me. I'll just donate.
Yeah.
I swear I'll do it.
Yeah. And the Bezos Earth Fund, they're all about pushing for a transition to 100% renewable energy, which, again, good, important stuff. But as The Atlantic noted back in November when Bezos announced the first round of environmental groups to receive funding, all of the recipient groups are 501c3 nonprofits, which means they are legally prohibited from intervening in political campaigns or even appearing partisan. Thinking of climate change in purely environmental terms is no longer a viable strategy. Carbon-based fuels are woven too deeply into the economy to simply be treated as a pollution problem. Climate change is an economic problem, and its solution must be managed through economic policy.
So meanwhile, Amazon's labor practices continue to be terrible. New York City just had its biggest blizzard in 5 years, and apparently Amazon forced their drivers to risk their lives continuing to deliver packages, or else they'd lose points on their performance rating. You're not going to let a little blizzard get in the way, right?
Oh, a little flurry?
You're not going to get a gold star on the chart.
When?
Over in Chicago, Amazon is shutting down a distribution center that has been central to a unionization push by workers. And the only option for continued employment for those workers is mega cycle shifts at a new Chicago warehouse, 10.5-hour graveyard shifts from 1:20 a.m. to 11:50 a.m. But hey, I can hear you typing, well, at least Jeff Bezos is giving his money away. How many billions have you given away? The point is that it's nice that he's giving money away, but also he should have never had that much money to begin with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are all nice steps to undoing the negative effect that he has had on the world.
Look, it's good that he's going to be giving his money to charitable organizations, and I hope that he follows through with that and continues to expand on that.
He could also could always give a lot more.
In the meantime, it's ruined my pitch to I'm streaming on Twitch. Hey, use your Twitch Prime.
Bezos bucks.
Or else Jeff Bezos is going to get that money. Now, what's his? I don't even remember his name.
Andy Jassy.
Yeah, Andy Jassy's going to get it.
My Jassy dollars.
And Andy Jassy sounds like he's going to do something a lot more fun with it, like buy juggling balls.
Yeah. We're a fun company.
Yeah.
Speaking of CEOs who are no longer CEOs, here's a little Parler update. Parler's CEO and co-founder John Matsy has been fired by his own company's board of directors. Parler is still basically non-existent, and its webpage is still mostly just updates from now former CEO John Matzey about how they're trying to bring it back online, including an inauguration Bernie meme saying, "I wish that John guy would hurry up already." But yeah, it looks like John will be doing no such thing because conservative megadonor and Parler board chair Rebecca Mercer has given him the boot. Sad.
Yeah. Anyways, in other news about the Stop the Steal movement that tried to cast doubt on the 2020 election results, it's not doing so great. And we talked about it in our previous episode about Dominion voting systems. They're either suing or threatening to sue a ton of major figures and organizations that claim that they manipulated election results. Most who received cease and desist notices from Dominion seem to have realized that they stood to lose a ton of money in defamation lawsuits because they were defaming them.
Yeah.
But some haven't. Thus, the hilarious exchange between MyPillow guy Mike Lindell and the anchors of conservative news network Newsmax, who really wanted the Pillow Man to please shut the fuck up about Dominion.
Can we talk about election fraud without
Can I have that piece of paper again that
the
says
no word?
Yeah.
I love how that anchor literally got out of his chair. He's like, he got out of the chair. It was just an empty chair. It's like, if they sue us, I'll be like, hey, well, actually, I don't owe you all the money because I actually got up out of my chair.
I left. I was only there 10% of the time.
Anyway, now another election technology company, Smartmatic, is also suing a ton of people, including Fox News, along with Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, Jeanine Pirro, and plus Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell.
Fun.
Just a real murderer's row.
Yeah.
And like the Dominion lawsuits against a lot of the same people, Smartmatic is seeking a lot of money, $2.7 billion. Smartmatic also, just FYI, only provided services for the 2020 election to one county, Los Angeles County, which really would not have needed any help whatsoever in flipping blue because it's been solidly blue forever, and also has nothing to do with any of the areas where Stop the Steal dead-enders claim voter fraud happened. So if Smartmatic does succeed in their lawsuits, that's an incredibly dumb and pointless way for Fox and the rest of them to lose just a shitload of money.
Yeah. But hey, let's turn around now and criticize some liberals, particularly New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who, for whatever reason, is seen by a lot of people as a hero during the whole COVID-19 pandemic, despite New York being one of the worst hit states. He was a bachelor man around town in mid last year. Everyone was like, oh, he's so hot. That Cuomo?
I'm a Cuomo-sexual.
Yeah. And that state, it has the highest amount of COVID deaths. But still, they persisted. Andrew Cuomo, he couldn't even wait for the pandemic to be over before publishing a book literally called American Crisis, Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic, as if it's fucking behind us.
My work here is done. But you didn't do anything.
In fact,
my book.
In fact, you impeded a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, in New York City in particular, it's in bad shape right now, with average weekly cases higher than they were back in April. But last week, Andrew Cuomo went ahead and gave New York City restaurants the green light to go ahead and reopen for indoor dining, starting on Valentine's Day. It's a big night for dining out.
Watch out for Cupid's arrow and the coronavirus.
Yeah. Cuomo previously banned indoor dining in New York City back in December when cases were quickly rising. But when Cuomo announced reopening last week, cases were 64% higher than when he announced the dining ban before. So things only got worse. And it was like, all right, mission accomplished.
But Joe Biden's president, so it's fine.
That's right.
Don't you understand? That's how it works.
We have a female vice president.
Yes.
Did you know that?
We have a girl boss in charge, so I think we should open up the restaurants. Also,
why do you want Trump to win?
If you want, maybe we'll do outdoors, but you could just build the indoors outdoors, and that's fine.
No, they can't even do that anymore in New York because it's fucking freezing.
Yeah. Well, in LA, there's plenty of places that are indoors but outside.
Yeah.
That seems a bit illogical, but you know what else is illogical? Cuomo responding to calls for restaurant workers to have a higher vaccine priority by calling it a cheap, insincere discussion. What? Meanwhile, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio disagrees and thinks if restaurant workers are going to be in enclosed spaces with people eating and drinking, obviously with no masks on, unless they're those horror machines, they should probably receive priority for vaccination. But guess what? It's not up to him.
It's up to Andrew Cuomo, who has lessons in leadership.
His brother got the virus.
Not my fault.
Look. Just get takeout. It's almost as good.
Yeah.
And that way you're not even worried about getting the virus. So whatever, you're supporting the restaurant and you're getting the hell out.
Yeah.
I know it's been a long time. People are breaking, but like, look, we're so close.
The only reason to eat at a restaurant is if you are the type of person who gets off on telling someone else what to do and being served. The only reason.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of those people in it. We live in America.
Yeah.
So having power over someone else is the American dream.
The nation of Karens. Uncle Sam can retire from his mascot position.
Did you see LeBron James get that lady getting kicked off the court the other day?
Yeah.
Courtside Karen?
Yeah, and then she went on Snapchat or whatever and was like, she's like, my husband is 3 times my age and you were disrespecting him, LeBron.
Anyways, yes, get takeout. You're not really supporting restaurants by potentially exposing their workers to a disease that has New York City hospital ICUs nearly at capacity. They should probably pay those workers to stay home.
Yeah.
It's apparently not that easy here.
Or at least put them at the top. Like if you want to open...
Yeah. Get them vaccinated.
You want to open restaurants? Vaccinate restaurant workers. You want to open schools? Vaccinate teachers. Like, there's got to be a better way.
Just keep the old people locked away somewhere. They've already lived their lives.
I mean, that was the plan at first, especially in England. It didn't go so well.
Everyone that's old enough now, they got to live through the 80s when they were in their prime. I don't want to hear it. They had the time of their lives.
They did.
Every drug, all the sex, money flowing out of their ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's our time and the Zoomers' time, damn it. Get out of the way.
Just to be clear, we're not advocating for a mass
that was all
genocide
satire.
event for people over certain ages.
That was satire. I just want the vaccine, along with people who are working in grocery stores, restaurants, medical workers, and...
I would like to be vaccinated, please.
1 vaccine, please. Well, 2. The booster.
But yeah, meanwhile, things over here in LA are not particularly great either. We do at least have a massive drive-through vaccination site set up at Dodger Stadium. And our vaccination rate has been higher than a lot of other large cities, though it's still way too low. Like, I think LA County has vaccinated 8% of the population. And that's just like, that includes people who've just had 1 shot. So that's like a month in. At that rate, it's going to take a fucking year.
Luckily, things are a bit better than when they started. Because when they started, I was like, we are never getting out of this.
Yeah.
It's like, what do we do with the vaccines?
But yeah, most other major cities, it's like 5%, 6%. Come on.
Yeah.
But also, LA has a whole lot of crazy fucking weirdos, which you know. But this past Saturday, a group of around 50 unmasked anti-vaxxers showed up to harass workers and people who were standing in line and successfully managed to shut the whole operation down for an hour. And people were already waiting in line for like the entire day. Just had to go and make things even harder. One of these dipshits even live streamed the whole thing. And it's just very surreal seeing a bunch of otherwise normal-looking people roaming around a place we've spent a lot of time at over the years, being completely detached from reality. It was especially weird for me because the Dodger Stadium is adjacent to a park called Elysian Park. And like, I literally like later that day was hiking around Elysian Park. And when I got home, I saw these posts and I'm watching this video. I'm like, this is fucking weird. Like I was literally just walking through that same exact area.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got just on top of everything else, just a whole bunch of crazy people who are walking among us.
That's the craziest part about the people that were protesting the vaccination site is just like, guess what? You don't have to be here.
No one's forcing you to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
You could be going and doing anything else.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're like, oh, please stop your car. You're gonna get they're gonna make it so you can't have babies.
Yeah.
Sir, everyone here is 65 years old. We're not having any more babies.
Yeah. It's just, God, the whole thing. I can't imagine being.
Not that it's true that it does that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
In their mind.
You're sitting in your car and they're just coming up on your windows and like, hey, don't get vaccinated. I think one of them had a fucking megaphone. Just fuck off. Go away.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But in some positive news, there is yet another vaccine that's almost ready to be distributed. This one is from Johnson & Johnson, and while its effectiveness is a lot lower than the others at just 66% overall and 85% for serious cases, it's just a single dose instead of 2. It only requires standard refrigeration, which is great, and trials for it led to 0 hospitalizations or deaths, which means good news, because if you get it, then it's not going to be so detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
So it could be distributed as early as later this month. And if so, that could alleviate a lot of the supply issues that we're currently facing. and get a lot more people vaccinated quicker, which is good. The fact that it doesn't need to be in a deep freeze and it doesn't go bad if you take it out of that and expose it to the air that quickly is very, very good.
A lot less waste.
Yes.
The existing vaccines, they're just throwing that shit away.
At least I don't know about here, because here it's like, I've seen the pictures of people, they just bring out their lawn chairs every day and set up in front of clinics.
I mean, that's fine. Good.
Yeah, good.
Use the doses.
Yes, please.
This Johnson & Johnson one, like, they should be giving this one to younger people. Like,
yeah.
Because, like, it's less effective, but it's, like, still, it's not nothing.
Yeah, if your body can handle it, I think it's great.
Younger people have way higher survival chances with COVID, so it's like, they don't need the foolproof vaccine.
And the best part, if you get it in your eyes, no tears.
Yeah, no more tears. How do they do that?
I don't know. They made a vaccine and they made shampoo that doesn't burn your eyes.
Just rub it in your eyes. Nothing happens.
Yeah, it cleans them, actually.
How did they do that? I put my contact lenses in the No More Tears shampoo. Cleans your eyes.
Anyways, we've got plenty more news for you, but first, it's time to calm down. Both of our sponsors to help out, because this episode is sponsored by Calm. We're coming up on a year of COVID-19 disrupting all of our lives. And we could definitely benefit from less stress and more sleep in our lives. Now, it's very important to take care of yourself and invest in your well-being during times of anxiety. When you relieve anxiety and improve your sleep, you feel better in every part of your life. It's like recharging your battery, which Donald Trump thinks he has one, which is fun. That's why we're excited to partner with Calm, the app designed to help you ease stress and get the best sleep of your life.
Calm has a whole library of programs designed for healthy sleep, like soundscapes, guided meditations, and over 100 sleep stories narrated by soothing voices like Stephen Fry, Kelly Rowland, and Laura Dern. Over 85 million people around the world use Calm to take care of their minds and get better sleep. And if you go to calm.com/tech, you'll get a limited time offer of 40% off a Calm premium subscription, which includes hundreds of hours of programming.
Get the Calm app and experience a transformation in the way you sleep. For our viewers, Calm is offering a special limited time promotion of 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/tech. That is 40% off, unlimited access to Calm's entire library, and new content is added every week. Get started at calm.com/tech. That is calm.com/tech.
And this episode is sponsored by Feels. Do you experience stress or have anxiety or chronic pain or trouble sleeping at least once a week? You're not alone. Many of us do, especially these days. Our job involves spending just most of the day just sitting in a chair, doom scrolling the worst things the internet has to offer, and that comes with a side order of back pain and stress and difficulty getting to bed at a decent hour. Thankfully, though, we discovered Feels. Feels is a premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. You just place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and feel the difference within minutes.
The thing to remember about CBD is that finding your right dose is important, and everyone's dose is different, so leave room for a little experimentation over the course of a week or so. You may need to take more or less to get the effects that you're after. And if you're new to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline to help guide your personal experience. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, hangover, or addiction. Join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel at any time.
Feels has us feeling our best every day, and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/newsday. That's FEALS. You'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/newsday to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/newsday.
Put a little under the tongue and then have my peppermint tea ready to go right before bed.
Wash it back, yeah.
It's good. But let's get back into the news. Hey, remember Stadia?
Stadia.
We still don't know, and I guess it doesn't matter.
You own Stadia. Oh wait, no, you gave it away.
Yeah, but it was for the show to try it out. And it did have a bit of a resurgence because no one could play Cyberpunk. So everyone was like, oh, yeah, blow the dust off of it. I'm going to play Cyberpunk on Google's PCs.
Yeah.
When Google first announced their cloud video gaming product, one of our biggest concerns with it was that, look, Google has a long history of starting projects and then just totally abandoning them. There's entire websites like Killed by Google and the Google Cemetery that track all of the products Google has killed off. So making Stadia your primary gaming portal and buying all your games through Stadia has the potential risk of leaving you with nothing if Google decides to give up on cloud gaming. And there's already signs that they might be doing just that. Remember all the crazy integrations this was supposed to have with like YouTube and all that?
Yeah, no, it had some really exciting things about it. I'm like, oh yeah, cloud gaming. You can do stuff that you couldn't do otherwise.
Fwiz really sold this on us, and well, look at it now.
Why would Fwiz lie?
Why would he do that?
Part of Stadia's initial plan involved developing in-house exclusive AAA games that would take advantage of the cloud to do things that are only possible in cloud gaming, which sounded cool, but Google announced this week that they are shutting down their game studios in Montreal and Los Angeles to focus solely on bringing third-party games to the platform.
I mean, that's smart.
So there's still no indication that Google's winding things down with Stadia overall anytime soon, so you shouldn't worry that much, but they have already abandoned one of their key pitches just 15 months after their initial launch, which is not a good sign.
But like I said, Cyberpunk's a good example of getting use out of the product. If it's a game that, I mean, you only get those like once a year, these huge AAA games that are just monsters that are graphics card testers.
Is
basically.
Google the one hoarding all the graphics cards?
I think they might be.
Is this all a plan?
But that's the thing is people are playing Cyberpunk on it and be like, yeah, it plays great because it's playing off of a PC in whatever Google's server room is.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe I just don't think that's a sustainable business model because 90% of the year you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Anyways, on to Facebook news. They announced last week that they would no longer recommend civic and political groups to users, largely in response to stuff like the January 6th Capitol riot and the disinformation surrounding the 2020 election.
Where did all that come from?
Who knows?
Facebook?
But it turns out Facebook has known about how toxic most of their political groups are for a lot longer than that. And they only decided to stop recommending them when the PR got real bad.
What? Facebook would do that? I'm shocked.
Zuckerberg should step down just like Bezos did.
Yeah.
But for different reasons.
Focus full-time on surfing.
Yes.
My new goal is to qualify for the U.S. Open of surfing.
I'm going to surf around the world. We don't recommend it, but go ahead.
Just me, my surfboard, and a bow and arrow for shooting and slaughtering sharks. To eat.
And my sweet baby rays, of course.
Shark meat tastes doubly good when you've hunted it yourself.
And dabbled it in sweet baby rays.
So according to the Wall Street Journal, researchers at Facebook warned executives back in August that, quote, 70% of the top 100 most active U.S. civic groups are considered non-recommendable for issues such as hate, misinfo, bullying, and harassment. We need to do something to stop these conversations from happening and growing as quickly as they do. Our existing integrity systems aren't addressing these issues.
From that article, the August 2020 internal presentation showed U.S. groups tied to mercenary and hyperpartisan entities using Facebook's tools to build large audiences. Many of the most successful groups were under the control of administrators that tolerated or actively cultivated hate speech, harassment, and graphic calls for violence, it said, noting that one top group, quote, aggregates the most inflammatory news stories of the day and feeds them to a vile crowd that immediately and repeatedly calls for violence. Administrators had designated most of the groups as private, so only members could read them. Some were secret. People outside Facebook wouldn't know they existed, much less that they were garnering millions of views a week.
Yeah, that's one of the creepier things about the Facebook group stuff is like a lot of them are completely hidden. Like they don't even show up in search results. So
Like a secret society.
Yeah, I'm not cool with that. Seems like people could get up to some very bad stuff.
It's what happens when you close all the VFWs, Moose Lodges, and all the other ones. People go to Facebook for their secret societies. And
come on, Gavin Newsom, reopen the Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
Reopen the Shriners Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't driven my tiny car in so long.
I haven't gotten a 25-cent cup of beer at the Masons Lodge in months. Damn it.
How are we supposed to secretly rule the world if we can't even go down to the local Freemason spot?
In your little tiny car from the villages.
Yeah. Here's more from that article. They are deliberately creating this toxic atmosphere, Facebook's researchers wrote of the administrators of the Kayleigh McEnany fan club.
She's a smoke show.
Named after but not associated with the Trump administration press secretary. The researchers said the group largely functioned as a distribution system for low-quality, highly divisive, likely misinformative news content from a handful of partisan publishers. The comments in the group included death threats against Black Lives Matter activists and members of Congress, researchers said, and Facebook had flagged it 174 times for misinformation within 3 months. In the comments under one post about U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar that the presentation included, comments included, I hope someone shoots her, but she lives and is paralyzed. Maybe a bullet would do her good and bring back public hangings.
Jesus Christ. Well, luckily they didn't get 175 warnings, because as we know, the Facebook rule is 175 strikes and you're out.
Oh, yeah, that's the rule. Just barely missed it.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Anyways, of course, Facebook's higher-ups apparently didn't like the idea of taking any action against prominent conservatives and worried about the effect that doing so would have on growth. But then things reached a point last month where the situation finally got bad enough for PR that they had to do something. So they stopped recommending political groups to users. As with just about everything Facebook does, it's all about the money, and they don't take action on anything unless their bottom line is threatened.
Yeah.
Who is still on Facebook?
I don't know. My parents?
Old people and everyone that was involved in the insurrection.
Yeah.
Either cheering it on or they're in person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go on there like once a month to just like look around, and it's only relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one my age, except for the ones who got like married like right after college and have like 8 kids. Like they're still on there posting.
Living vicariously through others' posts?
I guess. But yeah, no one I know who's cool in any way is on Facebook. But everyone's on fucking Instagram, which Facebook also owns.
Yeah.
So
there you
same
go.
shit. Meanwhile, Apple's Tim Cook has been at odds with Facebook for the last few months after Apple announced plans for iOS that would make it mandatory for apps to very visibly give users the option to opt out of device ID tracking, which Facebook relies on a lot for its ad business. Facebook is reportedly even considering jumping on the bandwagon and suing Apple for anti-competitive practices with its App Store in response to all this. We'll see, I guess. But last week at a digital privacy conference, Tim Cook had this to say about Facebook. He didn't use any names, but he didn't really have to.
Yeah. If a business is built on misleading users, on data exploitation, on choices that are no choices at all, then it does not deserve our praise. It deserves reform. We should not look away from the bigger picture. At a moment of rampant disinformation and conspiracy theories juiced by algorithms, we can no longer turn a blind eye to a theory of technology that says all engagement is good engagement. The longer the better. And all with the goal of collecting as much data as possible. Too many are still asking the question, how much can we get away with? When they need to be asking, what are the consequences? What are the consequences of prioritizing conspiracy theories and violent incitement simply because of their high rates of engagement? What are the consequences of not just tolerating, but rewarding content that undermines public trust in life-saving vaccinations? What are the consequences of seeing thousands of users join extremist groups and then perpetuating an algorithm that recommends them even more? It is long past the time to stop pretending that this approach doesn't come with a cost of polarization, of lost trust, and yes, of violence. A social dilemma cannot be allowed to become a social catastrophe.
And yeah, say what you will about Apple, but their stance on data privacy and whatnot is good.
It's part of the reason I switched. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, they have a very consistent track record for that.
Yeah.
And ahead of that iOS privacy update that's got Facebook all steaming mad, Apple released a document that does a really good job explaining just how much user data is collected during a typical day in a normal person's life. They use a fictional example of a father and daughter who just take a trip to the park and then get some ice cream afterwards, and just all the data they share just in the process of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an excerpt. John and his 7-year-old daughter, Emma, are spending the day together. In the morning, John uses his computer to look up the weather, read the news, and check a map app on his smartphone for traffic conditions for a trip to the playground next to his daughter's school. During the ride, there are 4 apps on his phone collecting and tracking their location data periodically in the background. After the data has been extracted from the device, app developers sell it to a host of obscure third-party data brokers that John has never heard of. Although the location data collected is claimed to be anonymous, user tracking allows data brokers to match John's location history from these apps with information collected from his use of other apps. That means information tracked across different apps and from multiple sources is available for any company or organization to purchase and could be used to create a comprehensive profile about him that includes his precise day-to-day movements.
The document goes on to point out how other stuff, like Emma playing a mobile game in the car, John and Emma taking a selfie at the park, and John purchasing ice cream afterwards, they all provide a ton of information to third parties that they're completely unaware of. The story ends with the following summary. At the end of the day, a number of companies John has never interacted with all around the world have updated their profiles with information about him and his daughter. These companies know the family's house location, the park they visited, the news websites they read, the products they browsed, the ads they watched, their purchasing habits, and the stores they visited. This data was collected and tracked across multiple apps John and his daughter used throughout the day, as well as from other sources. John had no idea how much data was being collected throughout the day, didn't always have control over it and didn't knowingly give permission for it to occur. As they search for a kids movie on an app in their smart TV to kick back for the evening, the cycle of tracking, data sharing, and targeting relentlessly continues.
Yeah, it's a scary thing because one app can't do a whole lot of damage, but
all of them combined.
Yeah, all of them combined, they know a terrifying amount about you.
Mm-hmm.
More than you know about yourself.
They know what you want to buy. I mean, we talked about it years ago about the girl whose family found out she was pregnant before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been other ones where people have been outed by ads for gay websites showing up, even though they haven't searched any. It just figures out this person meets the profile of
let's start
an average gay person. Yeah, it's real creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, in other Apple news, they're apparently working on a VR headset, which in true Apple form could be ludicrously expensive at $3,000. But that $3,000 will get you a lot if these rumors are to be believed. A report from The Information says that this Apple VR headset will also be an AR headset, thanks to there being over a dozen cameras and LiDAR sensors built in for tracking the user's hands and mapping the user's surroundings in 3D. And it'll also supposedly feature dual 8K displays with eye tracking technology that will offer much higher resolutions than any VR headsets currently on the market.
Jesus.
So this sounds impressive, but it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we already coming up on the next wave of VR after
maybe?
Because it was 2014, 2015 is oh man, VR is the future, and then
it's another thing where it's the pandemic might have accelerated this because if it was more widely adopted, you could sit in a room with your relatives or friends in a VR headset.
Yeah.
It's just kind of still kind of crude, the apps and stuff for it now.
And also Facebook controls a huge section of the market. It's
but even on Steam, if you have a VR headset, it's you're sitting there having a nice conversation with your family in their little avatars, and a fucking a furry and a waifu walks in and just starts saying nani, nani, and lifting up their skirt.
Yeah. You don't want that.
No, but Apple's going to start having to sell Apple neck braces because it sounds like this is going to be heavy hardware. Of course, though, Apple, they've always have a ton of stuff in development that may never see the light of day. But this VR headset is supposedly years in the making and part of Apple's long-term goals. And the first edition could be revealed sometime this or next year. Or never. So I guess we'll see. I mean, they usually, debut stuff in September and October? So.
Yeah. I mean, this year they had 3 events. It was weird.
Yeah, why not?
Last year.
Yeah. Similarly, though, there's been talk of an Apple car for a long time, several years, with nothing to show for it. But recent reports indicate that Apple is on the cusp of signing a deal with Hyundai Kia to manufacture the Apple car, or whatever they'll be calling it.
The iCar.
Sure.
iDrive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's not my job. They'll come up with it. But basically, Hyundai Kia would handle all the car stuff, and Apple would handle all the tech stuff, including the autonomous driving. But also, there won't be any Hyundai or Kia branding on it. Just Apple, which, you think Apple's going to share branding space with some Korean car company?
Kia already rips off the Lexus logo. Have you seen their new one? It looks just like it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. It looks identical to the Lexus logo.
Well, an Apple logo on a car.
It just looks it's like the Kmart version of it.
Yeah.
Not saying that Kias are great cars. I'm just saying, why take the branding?
Yeah.
You're your own thing. Do your own thing.
Also, though, if and when this car is ever released, and the estimates put it at 2024 at the earliest, it will not be a consumer car, at least at first. From CNBC, the first Apple cars will not be designed to have a driver, said one source with knowledge of the current plan. These will be autonomous electric vehicles designed to operate without a driver and focused on the last mile. That could mean Apple cars, at least initially, could focus on packaged food delivery operations and firms incorporating robo-taxis.
But again,
okay.
America hasn't even gotten to the last mile problem yet.
Yeah, this is all stuff they've been talking about for years now. Yeah. It's like Elon Musk in 2015 was like, Tesla robo-taxis next year. Stay tuned.
But it's like, okay, cool. I got to get to across town first before I can do the last mile.
Yeah, we need all the miles.
Yes. Now, moving on to Boston Dynamics news. The last time we talked about them was in response to a video they posted over the holidays that featured their full line of robots doing a horrifying choreographed dance performance. And they're back again this week with more videos. Now, these latest videos, though, are much more about the practical side of things, specifically the Spot robot, their only robot that's actually available for purchase. The biggest news for Spot is that the Spot arm is now available, which allows Spot to open doors, pick things up, and operate valves and levers.
Yeah, it also looks like kind of a neck and a mouth.
What that mouth do?
What that mouth do, Spot. So the practical uses for Spot seem to be mostly job sites that are inherently dangerous in some way, construction sites, mines, factories. And Spot's job at those places is still mostly about just making the rounds and doing 3D mapping and like monitoring the air quality and stuff. Spot is not autonomous. You can give it a path to patrol, and it's smart enough to avoid obstacles and pick itself up if it falls down or someone kicks it over.
Yeah.
But in one of Boston Dynamics' new videos, they show an example of a situation where Spot with an arm could be useful, which would be like after hours at a factory when an alarm goes off, a company is able to remotely operate Spot and have it see what's going on and like close any valves or shut off any switches if need be, all while they don't have to send someone down there in the middle of the night to check on it in person. So
Spot took the job.
Yeah. It took the job of the night man.
Yeah. You hate to see it. The videos do include some dumb stuff, of course, like 2 Spot robots swinging a jump rope while a 3rd Spot robot jumps. But it's pretty clear watching the 24-minute video of Spot's new features that we're still pretty far off from a rise of the machine scenario, which is comforting, but it chips away at it every day. And soon we'll be like, how did it get here so fast?
Yeah.
We're all dying. Spot,
we didn't listen.
Spot is basically just a really advanced cross between a Roomba and a drone. And aside from very specific use cases, it doesn't seem all that practical for most purposes. And so far, at least, it doesn't look like anyone will be losing their job to a dog robot, at least for now. But Spot could go pick up the dead duck when you shoot it out of the sky and bring it back to you.
Yeah. So dogs might be out of a job.
No more dog jobs.
Yeah. Sorry, dogs.
Which is upsetting.
Yeah, it's funny because everything we see of these robots over the last several years is like, holy shit, that's incredible. But it's like one take out of 50 where something didn't go wrong.
Yeah.
And like a lot of this footage, I'm like, oh, these things are kind of stupid and slow.
Well, it's like, but think like, you know, how police have canines and the suspect starts running, they send the canine. Imagine, like, even if it can't, like, destroy you, imagine getting chased after by a Spot and its little things flap.
Well, maybe don't break the law then, huh?
And it just snatches you up by your underpants and carries you back, like, all embarrassing.
Yeah. Or starts humping you. No, fine!
I give up! It squirted oil all over me.
Anyway, that's it for this week's Tech News Day episode. We'll be back soon with some news dump, entertainment news. In the meantime, if you haven't yet watched our most recent videos, they're right over there. And we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.